It is Dan Camish starting on pole position then. Second pole position of the season. Tom Ingram is with him. And we are ready to go racing. It's 12 laps on the Snetterton 300. It is go. Good start by Camish, good start by Rowbottom as well. Not a great start by Josh Cook in comparison. And as they blast down towards Riches for the first time, a very good start made by Dan Camish to take the race lead. Ingram goes second, and Ash Sutton's already up to fourth, and he might be third, in fact, round the outside of Robo as they come off turn one. Camish covers off the inside line, up towards the Wilson hairpin. That's Ingram on the outside. The first real pinch point of the lap, and Ingram is not going to be able to make it stick. But look at Sutton, he's already up to third, and he's on his toes for second. In sixth place is Dan Lloyd. Mikey Doble is hanging on to seventh. Whips the Toyotas, getting themselves together, and Jake Hill gets turned around. He was the innocent party in all of that. You had two Toyotas side by side. Jake Hill got tagged, and the reigning champions weekend goes from bad to worse. Three for the lead. It's Camish up front.
Down another place as they came in. Here we see a replay. Look at the two Toyotas behind. They're fighting each other. They're so busy looking at each other that they tag the back of Jake Hill's car and force him into a spin.
I think it may have been Aaron Taylor-Smith on the inside getting crowded. That's Charles Rainford on the grass in the background. There is a drive-through penalty coming for Ronan Pearson. Drive-through penalty for Ronan Pearson as the leaders come across the timing line. So Camish, 2 tenths up at the end of lap one. Ingram is second, Sutton is third, fourth is Morgan, fifth is Rowbottom, Lloyd is sixth, Chilton is seventh, and then eighth and ninth, Doble from Cook on the hard tyre, 10th is Smiley, and a replay here of a bit of hip and shoulder going on that forces Nick Halstead rally crossing coming out of Coram and scrabbling his way back towards tarmac. As right now you've got a good fight with Chilton and Lloyd then. The Hyundai's out of different teams. Here you've got the Team Virtue car now up ahead of the restart entry, so that's a change for sixth, and both of them on that softer tyre, of course, pushing forward. But Tom Chilton, having got ahead of Dan Lloyd on this lap, going nicely.
Yeah, he's going nice. He's been making good progress as Tom Chilton. And not surprisingly, we've now got the soft tyres in the front 7 positions. Mikey Doble still heading up the hard tyre cars in 8th.
Jake Hill, by the way, pitted at the end of lap 1 with damage, so it's not even that he's out there circulating and being able to salvage points from the top 15. He's already 2 laps down, and the damage there you can see is enough to effectively put him out of this race and at the back for race 2.
The only small glimmer of good news, though, is at least he's got the hard tyre out of the way.
True.
Had he started on the soft, he'd still have a race to come on the hard, so at least he's got that out of the way.
And Stephen Jelly has picked up damage somewhere as well. His One Motorsport Honda is also in the pits at the end of the opening lap. The sister car of Josh Cook here fighting with Daryl De Leon. De Leon is on the soft, so he moves ahead.
Yeah, again, it's like taking candy from a baby, to use an old cliche, isn't it? Not that I would ever steal sweets from a young child, obviously.
No, and nor would you relinquish your own, I've noticed. Daryl De Leon comes out of Coram in 10th place. Leaders up towards the line, and on that lap, Dan Camish is getting away slightly. He'd done the fastest lap last time around, a 54.9, and here, look, Chris Smiley is still on the attack as they come up towards the line. Through they go. So Camish, Ingram, Sutton, those 3 covered by 1.3 seconds. As we have a replay here of Max Hall getting a little bit crossed up, coming down towards turn 12. Bang! Straight into the side of Gordon Shedden, breaks the suspension. Nothing Shedden could do about that. He was totally the innocent victim.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for Max Hall because, as well, I mean, not as much as Shedden, but I know what happens. You're trying to brake whilst you're going round the corner. He got out wide onto the grass, and then he could not do anything about the trajectory he is on. Obviously, desperately unlucky for Gordon Shedden, but there was nothing malicious about the error that Max Hall made.
Dan Camish, though, who always seems to get the bad luck, leads at the moment, but it's not a massive margin over Ingram.
No, but this is about controlling the race, isn't it? Just looking back now, that's Rowbottom going through.
Smiley on Doble for second in the independent. Soft shod versus hard, no question.
No question, yeah. Better exit from the corner before onto the Bentley straight, and he can easily come past, probably with some boost as well.
And a replay here of the Toyotas at play, coming out of Coram. James Dorlin losing out to a committed Aaron Taylor-Smith. James hasn't raced here for a little while. It was last in a GT Cup car. And also in strife is Nick Hamilton getting it wrong coming through the S's, but he's able to get back onto the circuit, carry on in the battle. James Dorlin was really pleased with how the car had gone yesterday, 10th on the grid, but the harder tyre is really what sent him backwards. So it's going to be interesting to see, isn't it, late race, whether Ash Sutton wants to be third for points or fourth for a better tyre. Replay here of Dan Lloyd getting up the inside of Adam Morgan. Dan Lloyd is absolutely flying. He was second quickest in FP2 yesterday. A bit disappointed with qualifying, but he's going great guns here.
Yeah, in actual fact, you say he was disappointed. He actually said he was really pleased that the car felt great in qualifying, and he was looking forward to today, and he's backing up that promise.
Yeah. As he was saying also that he felt there was a bit more time in the car, but, you know, race day, different day and all that. So he is going well. Of course, it's helped by being on the quicker tyre, but even so, he's not finished yet, is he? Dan Lloyd has gone away from Morgan pretty rapidly, and he's setting off in pursuit of Rowbottom now on lap 7 of 12. BMW on the harder tyre. There's Aidan Moffat. He's getting the hard tyre out of the way early on. Ryan Bensley in the background, still trying to get himself into the points, and he's not far away, is he? He's on the back of James Dorlin, who's on the back of Aaron Taylor-Smith, and here's Sam Osborne and Aidan Moffat battle their way out of the S's, with the BMW really having to go defensive here.
Yeah, no, a fine performance by Ryan Bensley, you know, bearing in mind how little time he's had in the car. The first session of free practice yesterday was wet, and he's right with the group at the back of this, and very much in the mix. Does not look out of place at all. A fine debut.
Absolutely. James Dorlin in his first season in the championship. Aaron Taylor-Smith ahead of him, who's, to call him a veteran might be a little bit unfair, but one of the more experienced drivers on the grid. So Ryan Bensley in good camp, then Sutton. And this is the replay of coming towards us. Moffat ahead of Osborne. Taylor-Smith's car with the window peeling out. I'm surprised that's not a black and orange flag, actually. He goes through on the inside.
Yeah, it seems they're more worried about bodywork, aren't they? Wheel arches than perhaps a window leaning out. But yeah, I think he's got away with that one.
Nearly at the end of the race anyway. 3 laps to go as Dan Lloyd's on the boost, Adam Morgan's on the boost coming down the straight, and there, with the door open, is a troubled Nick Halstead. He'll be heading for the pit lane.
Yeah, remember he had that moment, didn't he, earlier on around the grass at Corham.
Dan Camish then accelerating his way up towards the line, and now Sutton thinks maybe a move against Ingram could be on. No, it isn't. Up towards the line, the Hyundai just able to keep the focus behind. Through they go. Ingram versus Sutton, and that plays right into the hands of Camish, because they're going to hold one another up by squabbling. Down they turn through the fast right of Britches, and Sutton now looking ever more committed. 2 laps to go, and he's all over the back of Ingram. 2 co-drivers over the course of a 3-hour race. Now Aaron Taylor-Smith in replay getting it wrong, diving into Riches, so that gives Sam Osborne the chance to get up the inside and retake the place, and James Dorlin likewise. And Ryan Bensley says, wait for me, and he can't go through. Yeah,
but he'll have enjoyed watching this, won't he? Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, Sutton, just that little mistake just dropped him off the back, didn't it, of Ingram.
So where on the lap does Sutton choose to use it? He wants to be closer, perhaps try and make it for the pass. We're on the last lap though. Dan Camish leads the way as through goes Sutton out of turn 3, then along that short straight down towards Agostini. Dan Camish looking for a 14th win in the British Touring Car Championship. Sutton again thinks about the inside, throws it up the inside. Is there going to be contact? There is. I'm coming through, says Ash Sutton. No, you're not, says Tom Ingram, who gets forced out a little bit wide, but the Hyundai hangs on to the position. But that was Sutton's only really serious move he's made of the race. It didn't quite pay off, but he's not done yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Sutton just backed out of that because it was a little bit forceful, and he may have been asked to give the position back, but it was certainly he was having a go, wasn't he?
Was he ever? And Tom Ingram may not have expected that, but Ash Sutton knew that was the place he wanted to try. It could have been his only option, really, because he's now got the S's, and then Corham, turn 12. It's difficult to overtake at Corham, but let's see what Sutton can do. He's up against another master of touring car racing in Tom Ingram. Down they come, left and right through the S's. Sutton is on the attack once again, almost unnoticed. Remember, Dan Camish is heading for the race win up the road. Sutton thinks about the inside, going into bomb hole, but again, there's just not quite enough width for a Ford. But boy, Sutton is not giving up, is he, on this, the last lap of the race for second place. Never mind banking points, Sutton is attack, attack, attack all the time. Dan Camish comes towards turn 12, then the run up towards the line. Checkered flag awaits, but who is going to be second? Dan Camish will win round 7 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. Camish wins at Snetterton. Second up to the line, it is going to be Tom Ingram, just ahead of Ash Sutton after a brilliant last lap battle between them. Dan Rowbottom is going to be 4th, Dan Lloyd is 5th, the winning independent. 6th, Adam Morgan. 7th, Tom Chilton. For 8th place, Chris Smiley. Mikey Doble will be 9th, and 10th should be Darryl de Leon. Green flag at the back. That means everybody has returned from the formation lap. Round 8 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. 12 laps ahead of us. Lights quickly out. Away they blast, and a good getaway by Sutton. Good start by Lloyd. Not a mega getaway by Adam Morgan. But on the run down towards Riches for the first time, it's Dan Camish. Here comes Sutton. Look up the inside of Ingram to try to go second. And Dan Lloyd's ahead of Rowbottom on the inside with a good start by Tom Chilton. getting up into 6th place, and Chilton's another on the softs, don't forget, as the leaders crowd one another. But Sutton has hit the front already from 3rd on the grid. Tremendous first couple of corners. Ash Sutton leads out of the hairpin, and there's the rolling roadblock of 3 cars on the hard tyre.
Well, as in race 1, Sutton made a demon start round the first 2 corners. In fact, the first 3 cars on the hard tyre made the best starts of anyone. But look, the others are already piling into the back of them. Here comes Rowbottom flashing his lights, and everybody get out the way. We're in a different race to you. He's all up the inside of Camish, look.
And then he's going to try to clear Ingram and then Sutton. He's already got himself back ahead of Dan Lloyd, who made a good start. Chilton's in the mix. Adam Morgan is in the mix as well. Rowbottom gets ahead of Camish then. And now Camish can hold them up, can't he? Let his teammate get through the pack. Camish is not going to be easy to get past Morgan then to the outside line. Lloyd, then you've got Chilton, Smiley up behind him. But right now Sutton is trying to get away up front. And look, Camish defending from Morgan. Dan Lloyd gets up the inside of Morgan's Hyundai, and that's going to put him ahead on the run down Bentley Straight. Great racing.
Yeah, Lloyd will probably get both of them because he should be later on the brakes here as well than Camish. That was great awareness by Dan Lloyd. He read that situation perfectly, and yes, he's managed to close the door as Camish loses another couple of places to Morgan and Chilton.
He gets shuffled offline, so that opens the door for Smiley, who's coming, look, on the inside towards the bomb hole, but that's where all the speedy dry is. A little bit less traction there. Rest of the field files through. So Sutton it is, leading the way from Ingram. Bit of leading going on there, look, as Chris Smiley gets up the inside of Dan Camish, who is dropping like a stone, having been shuffled offline. That kind of opens the floodgates. Everybody comes pouring past him. They're being roughed up on the outside line, Charles Rainford, as the leaders come across the line at the end of lap number 1. So Ash Sutton is the race leader. Tom Ingram is 2nd, Dan Rowbottom is 3rd. In 4th place is Dan Lloyd. In 5th place, Adam Morgan. Chilton is 6th. Then it's Smiley. Camish down to 8th from Osborne and Doble. And there, Camish on the inside line. Osborne switches sides, gets up the inside on the corner exit, and will have the right line for Agostini. But also, look, Mikey Doble's very, very rapid. Vauxhall Astra tries to follow the Ford through. There's Josh Cook on his toes as well. He finds a gap on the inside, and there's not much Dan Camish can do there to defend.
No, he's absolutely been hung out to dry there, but there isn't anything he can do. They've got a big grip advantage. I'm just waiting to see what happens when Rowbottom and Lloyd catch up with Sutton and Ingram. And look, they're catching. They're not far away.
Yeah, they're almost there, aren't they? If they get stuck, that's going to allow Morgan and Chilton to catch up. You've got Josh Cook there crawling all over the back of Camish now, looking for another place as well. Dust kicked up by Max Hall, who's on the back of James Dorlin. As here are the leaders then, down Bentley Straight, and Rowbottom makes his move against Ingram, who does defend. He's not prepared to just let him by. Ingram wants as many points out of this as he can get, so he's not just going to roll over and let Rowbottom through. It might not be the best advice to try to win the race, as Tim explained before, but Ingram's in no mood to just let people past. Remember, if you see on that graphic the little turbo indicator go green, big slide there from Ingram, who's in the wall, coming off turn 1, clatters the barrier, and he's broken the suspension.
Yeah, right front suspension is damaged and broken.
And that is bad news. Tom Ingram limps on, but he's going to have to be a retirement. Now, was there contact coming into the corner? He's all sideways. He tries to save it. He finds the barrier, and that damages the rear suspension.
There was a little wiggle from Rowbottom's car, wasn't there, which could indicate that there was contact.
Right, so that gives you Sutton in the lead. 2nd now is Rowbottom. Up to 3rd is Dan Lloyd. Look, ahead of Adam Morgan. And then behind the pair of them is Tom Chilton, and Chris Smiley is going to be up into the top 6. Ingram is trying to drag the car back to the pit lane, but that's another big name struggling, like we saw Jake Hill in race 1. One of Jake Hill. He's up to 15th. He's in the point.
And look, Rowbottom is now going to move past Sutton. Sutton's not going to make this hard for his teammate. He'll just try and follow him. But that was smooth sailing for Rowbottom. Will Sutton try and make it difficult, though, for Lloyd to get through? Because that would really help.
Well, indeed, wouldn't it? And we've seen in the past Dan Rowbottom be the team player to help Ash Sutton win a championship. Ash is able to repay the compliment here and let Dan Rowbottom through, and now perhaps start to get very, very defensive against Dan Lloyd. Tom Ingram is still going, despite the fact the car is far from being 100%, as the leaders come then now up from turn 12 towards the timing line. Rowbottom trying to build that lead with the drivers behind him having more laps of boost other than Sutton, and of course the correct tyre other than Sutton. Lloyd gets up the inside then and should be able to clear the Napa Racing Ford by turn 1. Up the inside line he goes, the man from Huddersfield, Dan Lloyd, up into 2nd place now.
This is a move from Jake Hill on teammate Darrell de Leon. That looked like it was into the hairpin at Wilson.
That's a change to 13th place then. Jake Hill moving forward. Right, Rowbottom is the leader. Lloyd is second. Morgan is third. Chilton is fourth. And Dan Rowbottom then was half a second ahead of Dan Lloyd. In fact, closer to 0.6 of a second ahead of Dan Lloyd when they came across the line. Looks a little bit less than that to the eye. Sutton now has got shuffled back into 6th place. And then you've got a gap back to the next battle, which is Osborne, Doble, Cook, Camish now in 10th place. So Ash Sutton remains the best place of the three on the hard tyre, only two of whom are now still circulating. But down towards the end of Bentley Straight, in Sector 1, Rowbottom was quicker. In Sector 2, Rowbottom was quicker.
Oh, we've got to read another look now at the incident. Well, it looked like, in actual fact, it looked like Rowbottom's car was quite a long way away from Ingram's there, didn't it? Maybe Ingram just got wide, went in too hard on the hard tyre and lost the rear.
Possibly so. Right, Rowbottom and Lloyd then, the two Dans, coming up towards the completion now of lap number 4. The sort of predecessor, BTC Racing. Rowbottom goes very defensive down towards turn 4. Smiley up the inside in the background of Chilton. Lloyd up the inside of Rowbottom coming out of the corner. And look, he's like a rolling start because the black Hyundais are on the inside in most cases. Lloyd can't clear Rowbottom. In the background, Smiley on the inside looking to try to go fourth on the run up through the infield. And there you go for that place then. On the outside line is Smiley, but Chilton is able to fend him off. So Chris Smiley on the wrong line has to think about it again. He's still there in 5th. And Sutton on the lights now, trying to monster Smiley out of the way. Sutton staying with them on the hard tyre. Yeah, Sutton's staying there, but he hasn't really got the pace on those hard tyres to fight them. But he's probably just trying to put Smiley off and put him on notice, if you like. Well, indeed, getting a replay of Mikey Doble getting all caught up, coming down to the S's. And Spears across the grass. Who was he battling with? It was Sam Osborne at the start of the lap. So I think the Vauxhall and the Ford got themselves together, and after a big scare, Mikey Doble rejoins after a colossal Code Brown moment at the end of Bentley Straight. Well, he rejoined, and he's actually still in front. Look, he rejoined just in front of Sam Osborne, who in all of that Josh Cook got past, but in fact they're actually as they were. Very unassuming, gets on with life, almost diffident when you talk to him. Into the back of Aaron Taylor-Smith there, Jake Hill, just a little tap in the tail. The race leaders, though, it is game on as they went across the line. So Dan Lloyd is through at the end of the straight. He's taken the race lead. Dan Lloyd goes by. So the Restart Racing Hyundai up into the lead of the race. Rowbottom won't like that. Comes up to fight on the outside line. Which of the two Dans is going to come out of the corner ahead? It is Dan Lloyd then. Lap 8 out of 12. Lloyd lead. Rowbottom down to second. And Dan Lloyd with a good move has gone charging by. Rowbottom fights back then. He's got the pace to fight. Dan Lloyd trying to defend all the way through turn 3. And now the run towards Agostini. And Lloyd covers off the inside line. Rowbottom to the outside line. Feels that's worth a chance. Well, it was the lap that Lloyd had the extra lap of boost. They're both on the same now. So Lloyd used that boost very well to catch Rowbottom unawares and get past. Rowbottom back up the inside. He's going to retake the lead. Look, coming up towards turn 5. He's done it. So Dan Rowbottom may have lost the lead, but he fights back very nicely. Adam Morgan is right with them as well now. So, one up, one back for Dan Lloyd. Rowbottom leads the way. So can Lloyd do it all over again? Napa Racing UK, Cataclean Ford comes then up towards the timing line. Touch of the curb there, look from Morgan. But now he can be on the boost again, potentially. Yes, it goes green. So does Chilton behind him. So does Smiley on that graphic. That means they're using the power. Here comes Morgan up the inside, and he should be able to get past Dan Lloyd by the end of the straight. And he's cleared the black Hyundai, so Morgan goes through and he's looking very strong indeed. Rowbottom leads, but can he get to the end ahead? Yeah, that was very good use of the Toka Turbo boost there. Morgan saved it up, used it up the long uphill section out of Murray's, the final corner, and he's used it perfectly. If he can use it for the next few laps, which he's got it for, and get behind Rowbottom, another pass could be just as easy. So let's see then as they turn now through turn 6 onto 7 onto the Bentley Straight. Behind them it's still Lloyd and Chilton and Smiley. Morgan doesn't look close enough to attack, doesn't yet, but let's see as they come now onto the straight. Rowbottom uses the boost, Morgan uses the boost. So Dan Rowbottom interestingly doing it now. Morgan is still using the boost to get a little bit closer as they come now down to the S's once again, but he's not near enough to attack. No, but it does mean then that Rowbottom won't have it for the last lap. Dan Lloyd has used all of his as well as he tries to hang on to third place. Replay here, Charles Rainford on Ash Sutton. Rainford gets up the inside, charges through. Sutton looks for the inside line on the way out of the corner, can't do it. Rowbottom still looks far enough ahead, doesn't he? He does, he's doing a magnificent job. We saw the fight in him when Dan Lloyd passed him. And have we had a change? We have for third place. Tom Chilton up into third ahead of Dan Lloyd, who's trying to fight back. So Lloyd, who briefly led, has now been shuffled back in the queue, and he's got no more boost, nor has Rowbottom. So Morgan, half a second back. It's now or never, Adam. Last lap of the race. He's got boost on this lap. Rowbottom has none.
All over the road trying to stay in front. Here comes Morgan. Has he got enough? No, he hasn't. Maybe he has enough for the run up to the line, though.
Maybe, and he's going to have to stay really close to the ford all the way through these last few corners, but he still looks to be about 2 lengths too far back, and Adam will be as frustrated as anybody because he's just not quite near enough. They sweep through Bombhole. Chilton there, still ahead of the Lloyd Smiley twins for restarts. Another 1-2 in the independence competition for them as the field then comes out of Coram for the last time, but Rowbottom looks like he has done enough. The gap is still there between him and Morgan. 1 corner to go. Now up that slight climb towards the timing line. It is going to be in round 8 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. A win for Dan Rowbottom, the third of his career. Rowbottom wins. Morgan is second. Third, Tom Chilton, and then fourth and fifth across the line together. Dan Lloyd just ahead of Chris Smiley, who got the best lap of the race. Mikey Doble takes sixth. And that must have been the hardest race of Dan Rowbottom's life, because for all of the 12 laps he was under fire. Round 9 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship at Snetterton. He's go. Good start by Mikey Doble. Good start by Dan Lloyd as well, as they accelerate away from the line down towards Riches for the first time. And it is Mikey Doble who has the lead then into turn 1. Adam Morgan up the inside. Tom Chilton on the outside. He's going to be one to watch. Josh Cook is in the mix as well. But look, Doble's already checked out.
Oh, there's a bit of kerfuffle at the back, but everyone stays on. But great start by Mikey Doble. That's always, we say, 80% of the race done. Maybe in touring cars that's less than, it's more like 70, but that's a great start. And Dan Lloyd also off with him, but Dan Lloyd is on the hards.
He is indeed, but then look, everybody else is trying to be third, aren't they? Because you've got Adam Morgan and then 3 wide behind, Sutton on the inside, Cook on the middle line, and you've got a BMW on the outside, which is Charles Rainford's car. They break for Agostini. Sutton nips up the inside. Ash Sutton's going really nicely here. 10th on the grid, remember, and already he's up into the top 4 as Josh Cook gets a bit physical with Charles Rainford. Take that, new boy, says Cookie.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sutton's first laps have been absolutely fantastic. In each of the races, he's made really quick progress, and you say 10th up to 4th.
So the race leaders then come onto Bentley Straight. Big off Stephen Jelly into the barriers. So Stephen Jelly gets spat out of the pack. And he's had another rotten day as well. That may be an interruption to the race if he can't get it off the grass there. So Mikey Doble leads down to the S's. Dan Lloyd is second. Adam Morgan is third. And it's Sutton and Cook fourth. Just Sutton runs ahead. But then Cook got the inside line for the second part of the S's and goes through. And here comes Charles Rainford. Look at the BMW up the inside. Safety car called. Safety car deployed.
Yeah, so they have to immediately fall into place. Some will have seen it. Osborne will just nip through there as well. Charles Rainford is being hung out to dry by the 3 Napa cars.
And so they're going to have to slow down. They're going to have to hold station as they come now then up towards the line.
Well, Stephen Jelly out of the car. Maybe a little winded. That was a bit of a thump, wasn't it? Here we see the start once again. And an absolute great start. Just get the revs and the clutch right from Mikey Doble. So we're watching Sutton. Watch Sutton in the black and yellow car. He's on the inside there. I'm just trying to work out how he gets from 10th all the way to 4th. Oh, there was the touching, the first corner bunching.
Charles Rainford's view. Not a great start by Josh Cook. That makes it all a bit crowded going up to the first corner. Rowbottom is on the outside ahead of us. Look, Rainford into the back of Cook. Cook gets a little bit sideways.
Yeah, but holds it. That's okay. That's not. That's just first corner bunching. But now this is where it gets a bit naughty down the inside. Oh, and into the back of Morgan as well. That was a bit aggressive, wasn't it? He may get called up to the bus for that one. This is on board with Nicholas Hamilton from further back. He's got Max Hall just in front of him. It was a good launch, but wow, comes steaming through his Ingram. Where did he get that launch from?
Well, Ingram was up to 13th at the end of the first lap from 25th on the grid. How about that?
Wow, that was incredible. That was like he was in a rear-wheel drive car of a few years ago. He shot forward, didn't he?
This Dan Camish's view as well, going up to the first corner. See the BMWs ahead. Aidan Moffat is the one that takes to the weeds. Aaron Taylor-Smith right in front of us, and eventually Camish finds a gap on the inside there. Stephen Jelly ahead.
Yeah, Camish actually did the right thing and backed out of that. The road got blocked, even though he had the momentum. The road was blocked in front of him, and rather than run into the car, he backed out of it, which was the right thing to do, but didn't manage to take advantage of that kerfuffle. And here comes Ingram, who started at the back. He's going to go all the way around the outside here of Jelly.
Well, we know a fired-up Ingram is always worth watching. Remember Donington last year, for example. So Camish on the back of Jelly. We're about 2 corners away from Stephen Jelly's dramas.
Yes, he's on the inside going into Agostini, though.
Yeah, there's Daryl De Leon alongside him. So Jelly's about to turn into the corner. There's De Leon up the inside. And Ingram on the inside. Daryl De Leon was with Jelly.
Yeah, Daryl De Leon just turned Jelly a little bit, and then Ingram caught the front of it, which pitched him off, but certainly wasn't Ingram's fault, and certainly wasn't Jelly's fault.
We understand that Chris Smiley's travails now a high-pressure fuel pump. So he is effectively out of the race, and Charles Rainford, then we've got into the top 6. That's Chris Smiley, oh so frustrated. All they can do now is just treat this as a bit of a test, isn't it?
Yeah, still behind the safety car while they remove Stephen Jelly's car from the outside of Oggy's corner. Hopefully it won't be too long and we can enjoy the racing. Or they're going to lift it, or are they going to tow it? I think they're going to lift it, so we'll be a little while yet behind the safety car.
Charles Rainford then hard at work, and this is a replay of RG Bargy or Cook Sutton leaning on each other, going through the S's.
Yeah, and this is up the inside, trying to get Sutton runs a bit wide, but still manages to hold position. Through comes Osborne. I think this was when the safety car was out as well, so they have to sort out their positions.
So, for round 9 of the British Touring Car Championship, we are about to go green once more. Mikey Doble now accelerates. Dan Lloyd loses a length on him. Doble leads across the line. The one to watch, though, on the restart lap is going to be Josh Cook. This is a golden chance to get past the traffic on the harder tyre, and keep an eye on Tom Ingram as well. Sutton is on his toes on the attack as well. Jake Hill on the outside as they round Riches, but it's all going on behind Mikey Doble, who is trying to build that lead once more.
Yeah, it looks like the first lap of a race, doesn't it? And Rainford got pushed out wide there. Hill goes through on his teammate.
Does indeed. Charles Rainford on the outside, well and truly roughed up there. So the places he gained at the start, he loses. Sutton goes around the outside of Morgan. Look at Cook, he's already up to 3rd. Sutton's on the soft tyre as well. So Josh Cook accelerates with 7 laps of the boost, but Sutton has got more. So Cook on the attack, gets past Lloyd up to 2nd place. This is the highest we've seen on One Motorsport Honda this year, but Cookie goes wide and Lloyd fights back and retakes the place.
Yeah, just what Mikey Doble wants, isn't it? This sort of scrapping behind him. I mean, Cook knew that he was on the softer tyre and Lloyd was on the hard, so he just sent it up the inside and hoped the car would stop. Unfortunately, he ran on a bit wide and allowed Lloyd to cut back underneath him.
Matt Hall on the back of his teammate, Dexter Patterson there. Replay of the opening lap. Charles Rainford looks like he's gone wide, but we know that there's been a bit of contact that put him wide.
Yeah, I think there was an assist there on the way in, wasn't it? He didn't choose the wrong side of the road to go.
Delicately put. So look at Cook flinging the car through Bombhull, absolutely on the limit.
It's such a great corner that to watch, isn't it? And through here, through Gorham, look at Ash Sutton again, the same thing. Trying to use his grip advantage to go round Lloyd. Lloyd's just blocking, so he goes the other side of him. Manages to go all the way around the other side.
Brilliant.
That was absolutely terrific.
And look who is the next one to come up challenge. 8th at the start of the lap and across the timing line now in 5th. It's Sam Osborne on the soft tyre. Sam Osborne is going great guns. This is Camish's view. That is James Dorlin ahead, now behind. That is a very incisive pass by Dan Cam going into Bombhull. So it is Mikey Doble leading, chased by 2 of the most spectacular drivers, Josh Cook and Ash Sutton. Doble's got the fastest lap and leads by 1.6 seconds. So it is the Motor Parts Direct with Power Max Racing Vauxhall Astra in the lead. Josh Cook's One Motorsport Honda Civic is 2nd. The Napa Racing UK Ford of Ash Sutton in 3rd. And then Dan Lloyd is trying to hang on to 4th, but Sam Osborne who is desperate to emulate his successful mini-challenge brother Jamie, looking for a way by.
Interestingly, Hill and Ingram just in the shot there are running together, and Ingram's got past Hill.
There is Osborne on the attack against Dan Lloyd, who is still the best placed of those on the harder tyre, and he's fighting really well to keep Osborne at bay, but eventually he's going to have to see defeat. And look behind, Ronan Pearson is giving Toyota Gazoo Racing UK something to cheer about finally, because he is on a mission as well into the top 6.
This is a proper race 3 dust-up, isn't it?
Yeah. Camish's view, Rainford ahead as they break now for Agostini. Dan Rowbottom on the outside, he's on the harder tyre, so in theory he won't be a threat. Camish up the inside, and the race 1 winner will get the job done, surely, here going up to 5. He does. Right, that's Sutton going through. Dan Osborne, Ronan Pearson has cleared, you can see Adam Morgan, but Tom Ingram has arrived on his tail. Jake Hill at Coram up the inside of Morgan, so there, the two of them, champions both, pushing forward all the time. But Mikey Doble, with the fastest lap of the race to his credit, leads. Remember, he's never won in a touring car race. He's come close, but he's never done it. 2nd and 3rd, Cook and Sutton. Gap back, 4th, Sam Osborne, heading for his best ever finish if he stays where he is. And their battle is on between Dan Lloyd, who is certainly now being shuffled back through the pack, and Aaron Taylor-Smith. So Dan Lloyd now really has hemorrhage places on that last lap through. 5th is Pearson, 6th is Ingram. 6th is Ingram, repeat from 24th on the grid. Then it's Hill, Camish, Rainford and Taylor-Smith to round out the top 10. Fastest lap now, Ash Sutton, and that was Camish into the back of Lloyd. Dan goes very wide onto the dusty part of the racetrack and loses more places.
Yeah, good battle now going on, obviously, for 2nd between Cook and Sutton. These two old friends and old teammates back when they started touring cars. They've raced together so much over the years, haven't they? Trying to beat each other on the hard tyres.
Nicholas Hamilton in replay. This is coming out of Riches, and the car gets a little bit crossed up, and a big lose onto the grass. Nick Hamilton will be able to rejoin the race from there, but that's a fast part of the racetrack. Right, Sutton clears Cook. He's up into 2nd place. Ash Sutton's done the fastest lap of the race. Now he's into 2nd position. Sutton's got 7 laps of boost remaining. He's got more than the leader significantly. So now the gap was 2.2 seconds at the start of the lap. Doble to Sutton. Mikey Doble is on borrowed time.
Well, you have to say that, don't you? Because if you've got a man who's like Sutton, who's set the fastest lap already and who's got more boost chasing you down, that gap of 1.7 is going to shrink very quickly.
Yes, indeed. So Ash Sutton up into 2nd place, but right now the leaders are virtually nose to tail. 1 second is down to 1/10 in the space of a lap, and now Mikey Doble, with 4 laps to go, has kept 4 laps of boost. Sutton's got 4 laps of boost. They've got parity there, but look how much quicker Sutton is. He is all over Mikey Doble like a rash.
Yeah, that last lap was Sutton's extra lap of boost, and he used it to close down. But as you say, they now have parity. Every lap they can use the boost to defend and attack. So the battle is really on now. In a couple of goes, he can catch the other driver unawares. This is Camish up behind Hill, and that looked like very much like a boost pass, didn't it?
And that was for 7th place. Dan Camish, the race 1 winner, goes through. Now he's planning the move as we get a replay of down at the S's side by side. Camish getting up the inside of Ronan Pearson. That all got a bit ugly.
Well, having got past Jake Hill, he then clattered into Ronan Pearson and gave that position back to Hill. So that was a little bit messy.
Race leaders start lap 13 of 15. Mikey Doble's Vauxhall has got to grow in width here to keep Sutton at bay.
Yeah, well, Josh Cook, he's got boost as well, but not using it. All 3 of them on the boost at the moment, down the back straight.
And this is Jake Hill getting sideways, and Dan Camish having another nibble at him as they go up towards Wilson. Camish on the inside, brakes late, gets up the inside and tries to retake 7th place. Ronan Pearson hanging on to 6th. This is the race lead. It is still Mikey Doble ahead. So much of the lap happens before the Bentley Straight. In terms of the length of the lap, you've done over half of it as you get onto the Bentley Straight.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got a fast straight, an S's, and then this long loop all the way back round to the end of the lap. So once you've got the S's done, you're kind of almost home for the lap. And Mikey Doble then can tick off lap 13. That means he's only, in quotes, got 2 more laps he's got to defend. He came so close to a win at Alton Park last year. Is he going to be denied at the last here at Snetterton this year?
Well, he's managed to hold off Sutton now for 3 laps when they've had the same amount of boost. So he's found where he's vulnerable. He's just got to keep doing what he's doing.
Defends nicely, coming up to Wilson.
Oh,
Sutton goes
up.
deep into the corner. That's going to squander 1, 2, 3 lengths maybe.
Yeah, that's a huge relief for Mikey Doble. It may not be long enough to last the rest of the race, but it certainly means he's clear for the rest of this lap.
Takes the pressure off a little bit, means he can drive his lines, not the defensive lines as well, and that'll help go quicker. Josh Cook still there in third place. In the background, fourth is Sam Osborne, who's got Tom Ingram behind him. Ingram then for fourth place, lining up to have a go. Sam Osborne covers off the inside line. Ingram goes deep into the corner, wants the switchback coming off it, and perfectly done. There's the gap. Has he got the drive off the corner to get the line for the next left? The answer is, of course. Through he goes. Tom Ingram is up in a fourth place. Great battling. For the last time into riches, Mikey Doble leads Ash Sutton, the margin 7/10 of a second. There is Tom Ingram up into fourth place. He's not going to catch Josh Cook for third. There's 5 seconds between them. Dan Camish into the top 6. Another good drive. Behind him, 7th is Ronan Pearson. Good effort. 8th it is Hill. 9th is Rainford. And Aidan Moffat is 10th. Gordon Shedden, by the way, he started last of anybody. He's up to 12th as well. So that's been a good drive by Gordon. Right. We are now coming out of turn 3 down to 4. On the last lap, Mikey Doble leads, but Sutton's closing.
But they both have boost to attack and defend on this last lap, so assuming Mikey Doble doesn't make any mistakes, keeps it clean, keeps his pace, he can bring this home.
And it would be a great win not only for him but for Adam Weaver's Powermax racing team. It's another underdog team. Remember, they did good things in the Independents last year to win that with Mikey and Aaron Taylor-Smith. They started the year with just the one car, but an outright win would be very special indeed. Right, half the lap is done. On to Bentley Straight. There's only the S's and Bombhole and Coram, and then turn 12 effectively to go. Mikey Doble, I can't say he's home and dry, but he's got his key out.
Yeah, I think he's home and dry. I really do. Barring a lock-up, which he's not going to do. That's just a little bit of the inside rear wheel kissing the ground on the weight transfer. He's going to bring this home for a fantastic victory.
He is indeed. So Mikey Doble, who is a quiet, unassuming guy out of the car, but a heck of a driver behind the wheel, he's going to score a first British Touring Car Championship win. Not only will the Motor Parts Direct with Powermax Racing team cheer him to the echo, I think the rest of the pit lane will, because this is going to be a first victory in the British Touring Car Championship. Mikey Doble wins for the first time in the BTCC. Ash Sutton is second, Josh Cook is third, and there is a very happy team down the pit lane. Mikey Doble victorious. Comes from a good racing family. Father still races, brothers race as well. And Mikey Doble victorious from Sutton, Cook, Ingram, Osborne, Camish, your top 6. And Charles Rainford just taking 7th on the line ahead of Jake Hill by 85 thousandths of a second. And a delighted team with battle still raging on. Daryl DeLeon on the grass, Tom Chilton on the tarmac, and into the pit lane, one of the, I think that possibly was Chris Smiley coming back in, Hyundai. Over the line there, Chilton just hanging on to the place, that was 18th. The last point, by the way, to Adam Morgan, who was the best of those on the hard tyre in the end. Right, Mikey Doble does it. Brilliant stuff. It's been a long time coming.